University of Strategic Optimism, based on free and open education, the return of politics to the public, and the politicisation of public space. We do not intend to intimidate, disrupt or obstruct any lawful activity. I'll repeat that. We do not intend to intimidate, disrupt or obstruct any lawful activity.
I do.
Our educational institutions are being dismantled, thus we are forced to explore new places to continue our work. So we inhabit this shop, which is partially funded by public money. This lecture is titled Neoliberalism and the State. Since its inception, the state has served to regulate and exert political power, standing as the sovereign organisation of geographic zones. Corporations are legal entities for the generation of profit and the accumulation of capital, separate from the state through the public and private divide. However, since the introduction of neoliberal capitalism in the 1970s, the aim of the corporation, profit generation, has been lauded as the driving force to produce a better society. To achieve this, the public sector is to be whittled away along with any other obstacles to profit generation. The banking crisis has exposed the government's view of the public sector as nothing more than a piggy bank to be raided to prop up the broken financial institutions. Rampant institutionalism is the only value of the 1% who run society. Everything else is an obstacle. Tesco is a case example of this. Tesco is a corporation, but it has grown to such a size that it forms a fundamental part of national infrastructure. Tesco controls 30% of the UK grocery market and is the world's second largest retailer. 1 of every £7 spent in the UK is spent in Tesco. Tesco uses its influence to cover the land in shops, regardless of local sentiment. In the West Bromwich, Tesco paid for a new police station to win approval for a new store. And in Bristol, Tesco went ahead with a new store as in an alternative area, despite 2 Tesco protests that turned into riots. Any new supermarket has a catastrophic effect on local businesses. Tesco claims to be wealth and job creators. Nothing can be further from the truth. Retail profit is essentially theft. It's economic value hoovered from local communities via corporate cash registers. The decision about where to reinvest the profits are the preserve of corporate managers and shareholders, leading to an investment in more supermarkets, causing a cyclic process. The use of automated checkouts is a clear example of employing the lowest possible amount of people for maximum profits. Profits have recently forced Tesco to withdraw from a work vet programme that coerced people forcing to work for their job seeker allowance. Tesco is also creating a council process, forcing tax havens to avoid millions in stamp duty and land tax. It would be impossible to engage in widespread tax avoidance and forced labour like workfare without government cooperation. Unfortunately, this government is all too happy to allow Tesco to pursue every possible avenue for profit generation. This is why we live in a Tesco nation. That concludes my lecture. If anyone would like to speak to me, please contact me in my office hours. I'd now like to introduce my other professor who would like to talk about alternative variations of Tesco. I hope you're all comfortable.
Just get this, please.
Wondering what this little talk has to do with you.
Demonstration.
So, since Tesco clearly isn't listening to public demand or obeying the law with regard to their taxes, what can we do to make them act more ethically? Now, I understand why most of us come to Tesco, and I think it's pretty safe to suggest that not many of us are die-hard dedicated Tesco shoppers. I think it's because it's cheap. It's because you've got a £20 food budget and you have 3 or 4 mouths to feed. Now, great, they've got a Tesco value food line, an ingenious branding technique so you can purposefully produce poor quality food and sell it at discount prices. But what Tesco does not want you to realise is that there are better alternatives than resorting to poor quality, frozen, overpackaged, barely edible food. What we need to do when faced with a tough budget and a rising food prices is to get creative. Lancaster has some exceptionally good independent stores, not to mention the market in town. Wouldn't you rather handing money over to someone who's going to benefit immediately from your custom? Is it not far better for the local economy and for those people that work in and around Lancaster than letting your money get swallowed up by Tesco with when their employees receive the smallest share of the profits that is legally allowed? The people that work hard in Lancaster to put food into their shops are not there to make record profits or cut costs by paying their employees next to nothing. They are there to make enough to live comfortably. Tesco, on the other hand, would sooner have all their employees replaced by machines and all their food made out of sawdust. Sooner do that than squeeze all the money out of you at minimum cost possible. And for those in a position to do so, think about growing your own food. Instead of 80 workers, time wasted sitting in a frozen warehouse, several truck rides, and the need for a Tesco voucher in between you and some tomatoes, then why not just grow your own? Okay, so you can't feed your family on tomatoes, but hey, every little helps, doesn't it? Be imaginative, be creative. I believe that if each of us thinks carefully about what we spend our food budget on, we can find that everything we need lies outside of this red, white and blue castle that has come to dominate the way we shop and the way we think about shopping. In 2007, a group of Tesco employees were sacked following a discussion on Facebook criticising the way their shop was run and the way they were treated by management. How many more people are there stuck in this position, unable to say anything due to the fear of losing their jobs? Yeah. Tesco is exploiting both their workers and their customers so that a few people at the top of the ladder can walk away with all your money in their pocket. Yep. I shan't condemn Tesco outright. I'm not saying they will absolutely and eternally be condemned. I ask instead for them to pay their workers fairly, to provide higher quality products, and to not open stores that threaten small local businesses. Until this happens, however, we should all seriously reconsider before just nipping into Tesco's.
Okay, that concludes our lecture. The next lecture will take place in an unannounced time and an unannounced place in a corporate chain near you.